Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Global Happiness Today YouTube channel. Still on the issue of electoral petition and the tribunal itself. It's becoming glaringly obvious there's more to it than meets the eyes. Peter Obi and his legal team have said to call out, cry out, and also tell Nigerians exactly what is going on. We're going to give you update exactly as it's happening right now. In a few days, hopefully, the legal fireworks begin. But meanwhile, there are a lot of things happening behind the curtain that Nigerians ought to know, needs to know, for transparency's sake. Before we go to the news proper, kindly subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button beside it. You will see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Let's hit the ground running. In his reply to the Independent National Electoral Commission's preliminary objection against his petition at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal Court in Abuja, the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has accused the electoral umpire for not maintaining neutrality in the case. Report has it that INEC, in its objection filed by A.B. Mahmood, senior advocate of Nigeria SAN, has disagreed with Tobi's assertion that the 2023 presidential election results ought to be transmitted electronically through the bimodal voter accreditation system, that's BVAS machine, to a public result viewing portal known as the RF. INEC had also countered Obi's submission that Tinubu, having not scored 25% of votes cast in the Federal Capital Territory, does not qualify to be declared winner of the 2023 polls in line with Section 134 of the 1999 Constitution. The section reads, and I quote, Section 1, Subsection 1, a candidate for an election to the office of president shall be deemed to have been duly elected where there are only two candidates for the election. A, he has the majority of votes cast at the election, and B, he has not less than 1/4 of the votes cast at the election in each of at least 2/3 of all the states in the federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. In FCT, Obi scored 281,717 votes to defeat Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar, who had 90,902 and 74,199 votes respectively, less than 35%. But INEC's lawyer Abubakar Mahmood, senior advocate of Nigeria SAN, had told the court that FCT, that's Federal Capital Territory Abuja, has no special constitutional status over and above the other 36 states of the Federation. To require a candidate in the presidential election to obtain at least 25% of the vote cast in the FCT before being declared winner of the presidential election. Meanwhile, the electoral umpire admitted that while it is true that collation officers are required to ascertain that the number of accredited voters match the number captured in BVAS and that the votes of parties correspond with the result electronically transmitted directly from the polling unit before collation of results, its collation officers are allowed by law to use INEC's copy of the result from the polling unit in the event that no result had been electronically transmitted from a polling unit. In his response before the court, Obi took a sweep at INEC, accusing it of forgetting its role as an impartial umpire. INEC, forgetting its role as an electoral umpire, gave a notice of preliminary objection to challenge the alleged incompetence of the petition. The global best practices for electoral umpires in national elections is that an electoral umpire must avoid creating the impression that it has no respect for neutrality in an electoral contest between candidates, Obi's reply stated. Obi's legal team further contended that previous rulings and decisions of Court of Appeal repeatedly admonished INEC to remain neutral in electoral proceedings, adding that it amounts to embarrassment for INEC to adorn the garb of a contestant in an election it conducted. In respect to INEC's argument that 25% vote from FCT is not a requirement in 2023 presidential election, Obi's team maintained that the electoral umpire's contention is not true and that the 1999 Constitution makes it mandatory. Regarding the mode of collation and result declaration, Obi cited a Federal High Court judgment which held that the BVAS is a core to the election. It is not true that INEC compared the result of the election with any hard copies and counterpart copies issued to Nigerian police and the political party agent as claimed in paragraph 73 of the first respondent INEC's reply Obi's team submitted. Okay, this is quite interesting. The last paragraph caught my attention. According to INEC, they said that it's not compulsory, that they have the prerogative right to decide how to upload, even though that was not what the chairman of INEC, Mahmoud, told Nigerians many months before, even prior to the elections. Let's assume that has been settled. The fact that INEC did say that they will compare the copies they've given to the police, the security agencies, the political agents, the polling unit agents, and in pari passu comparison with what is being uploaded in BVAS. They all have each copy hard copies. Now let's assume that is also true. I could also recall that up till now, they're still trying to upload results, and some of the results are even they are not in sync with what INEC chairman had announced as the reason why Bola Ahmed Tinubu emerged as a winner of the 2023 presidential elections. And I could also remember that the likes of Dino Malai during the coalition in Abuja did object to the all of this, saying, look, there's a lot of disparity. Polling agents said that okay, some of their main agents, national agents, all kept on saying that their polling agents keep telling them that the results announced here is different, and all of this disparity. INEC chairman was like, whatever it is you're not comfortable with, you can head to the court. You could now see that he was supposed to be marrying all. When they were collecting results, were they able to say, okay, security agents, can we see your own? Okay, is it in sync with the polling unit agent? Is it in sync with all party polling units, all party agents hearing? Is it also in sync with the returning officers? So that way, it may take a little while, but eventually we could be getting something very transparent. But alas, that's not what we got. At the beginning, it was as if it was going to go that way. But after a little while, a polling unit agent, the returning officers, there was a lot, disparity, a lot of arguments going on in collation centers. And they had to okay, do you know what? Whatever it is, just keep writing it down. Collate it and be writing it, and let's continue with the announcement. When we are done, you can head to the court with it. You just see that from the beginning, as if they made up their mind, look, we need to just run this up. And something similar happened at Adamawa, and many Nigerians like, this is the Adamaya Rec took his learning lessons. He became a prodigy of the main guy. So Nigerians are not really happy, and so obviously Peter Obi's team is looking at the same thing. Many Nigerians believe also from the way the challenging of the petitions are going up from INEC to APC, from APC to Labour parties, it's obvious that there's more that meets the eyes. They really need to remain neutral for posterity's sake and for transparency's sake, and also for talk of transparency. If they could do us that honors of televising it, so that Nigerians will see exactly, not reported speech, exactly what transpired in the courtroom, it would be really nice. That's what we're going to wrap it up. Let's meet in our conversation. Also take